Welcome back to the Everyday Faith Podcast from Eastside with today's faith-rooted principle. Hey there, welcome back. Today is April the 23rd, and today's rooted principle is this: pray for God's will rather than your own, and you will pray powerful and effective prayers. We talked about prayer just a couple days ago on Tuesday. We talked about prayer and prayer, Daniel, and how that there was a law made, but yet Daniel prayed, and we talked about how important it is that prayer be a part of our daily routine. But the fact of the matter is this, that we need to pray for God's will to be done. So many times we can get self-focused. We can get focused on what our will is. But if you look to the example of Jesus, the greatest example that we can look to of anything in life, and you'll find that Jesus even prayed, not my will, but thine, Lord, be done. In Luke chapter number 22 is where we find this. Luke 22, verse 39, it says, "And he came out, and he went, and was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, Pray that ye enter not into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and knelt down and prayed, saying," and here's what Jesus prayed, "Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done." Not my will, but thine be done. You know, I think that is a great way for us to pray. God, this is what I'm asking you, but whatever you want. God, not my will, but yours. Hey, and if my will doesn't align with your will, God, would your will still be done, and would you line me up with what you want? You know, God's given us a privilege to come to him in prayer, but sometimes we fall into this trap of praying according to our own will, according to our own purposes. And while we certainly may ask God for what we desire, our prayers must be in submission to his will. God, what do you want? What do you want? God, what would you have in this situation? You know, he already knows what we need in the situation before we even ask. And we shouldn't pray to tell God the solution to our problems. I think sometimes I'm guilty of that myself. God, this is the way that it needs to work out. I've got it all figured out. God, would you just do it this way? But that's really not the way it is. If that's the way that God wants to do it, then that's great. But if it's not, then that's his choice. And instead, we should pray that our lives will bring glory and honor to him, and that our needs will be met according to his plan. When Jesus prayed here in the passage we just read in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was facing a greater suffering than any of us could ever imagine. But yet he was still willing to endure the pain, the death on the cross, to accomplish God's will and our salvation. Our prayers should be offered in that same spirit of submission. Not my will, but thine be done. Pray for God's will rather than your own, and you'll pray powerful and effective prayers. Thanks for joining us for today's Rooted Principle right here on the Everyday Faith Podcast. If today's conversation has encouraged you, be sure to share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time right here on the Everyday Faith Podcast.